Commander Tay looked out at the stars from the bridge of the Earth-ship Aurora. After traveling for 3 months, they had finally reached the edge of what the star maps called Council space. His mission was simple: make peaceful contact with alien life. "Sir, we're picking up an unknown vessel approaching at high speed," reported Officer Rim, her fingers moving quickly over the sensor controls. Tay straightened his uniform. "Broadcast our greeting message on all frequencies." The alien ship was unlike anything they had seen before. Smooth and curved like flowing water with lights pulsing along its hull. It stopped at a safe distance, neither threatening nor retreating. "They're responding," said Communications Officer June. His eyes widened. "They're transmitting in English?" "They must have analyzed our broadcasts," said Tay. "Put it on screen." A face appeared. At least they assumed it was a face. The being had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern and skin that shifted colors like an octopus. "Unknown vessel," the alien said. "You have entered territory under protection of the Galactic Council. Identify your species and purpose." Tay stepped forward. "I am Commander Tay of Earth. We come in peace, seeking knowledge and friendship." The alien's skin rippled blue with surprise. "Earth? Your species has achieved interstellar travel? Our records indicated you were centuries away from such technology." "We are full of surprises," said Tay with a small smile. 3 days later, the Aurora docked at a massive space station. Tay led a small team, including Ambassador Han, Security Chief Min, and Science Officer Su. The station was filled with beings of all shapes and sizes, some with multiple limbs, others floating in special tanks, and many that defied easy description. The Council representative, a tall being named Counselor Brack, met them in what appeared to be a formal reception area. Brack's translucent body glowed faintly as he spoke. "In the Council's 50,000 years of existence, we have welcomed many new species," said Brack. "But few have surprised us by arriving unannounced." Ambassador Han bowed slightly. "We hope our surprise arrival hasn't caused any inconvenience." "Not at all," said Brack, though his body color suggested otherwise. "The Council has sent word to our homeworlds. A formal delegation will visit your Earth soon to officially welcome you to the galactic community." What the humans didn't know was that the Council had immediately classified Earth as a Category 3 civilization. Interesting, but not significant. They expected to find a single planet of primitives who had gotten lucky with their technology. 1 month later, a Council ship entered Earth's solar system. The delegation was led by senior diplomat Zix, who was secretly instructed to assess Earth for possible resources and technology that might benefit the Council. Director Kim of Earth's Defense Ministry greeted the visitors at the lunar base. "Welcome to our home system," she said. "We've prepared tours of our key facilities." The aliens were first shown Earth's orbital habitats, massive spinning structures housing millions of people. Next came the shipyards of Mars, where vessels of various sizes were under construction. "How many planets have you colonized?" asked Zix, trying to hide his growing concern. "We have permanent settlements on Mars, Venus, and several moons," replied Kim, "plus mining operations throughout the asteroid belt." The delegation was most surprised by Earth's defensive capabilities. During a demonstration, a small Earthship activated a shield that completely absorbed an energy blast that should have destroyed it. "Impressive technology," said one Council scientist while scanning the shield generator. "Your approach to energy modulation is unusual." What he didn't say was that it was more advanced than anything the Council used. In private, the delegation sent urgent messages back to the Council. "These humans have developed along unexpected lines," reported Zix. "Their defensive systems use principles our scientists abandoned millennia ago, yet they've made them work efficiently." The most alarming discovery came during the final dinner. A junior Council member asked about Earth's history. "Until 300 years ago, we fought constant wars among ourselves," explained President Su. "We had to become innovative to survive." The Council members exchanged worried glances. A species that evolved through conflict rather than cooperation often developed military technology at an accelerated rate. As the Council ship departed Earth, Diplomat Zix gathered his team. We must reclassify Earth immediately, he said. They are not primitives who got lucky. They are dangerous innovators who think differently than any species we've encountered. Back on Earth, Director Kim watched the alien ship vanish into space. What do you think? Asked President Zhou. They underestimated us, said Kim. But they won't make that mistake again. The Council would return soon with offers of friendship and alliance. But the humans knew the truth. In the vastness of space, respect often came before friendship. And Earth had just earned the Council's respect. 6 months had passed since first contact with the Galactic Council. Earth's leaders had established regular communication channels, traded some basic technologies, and begun learning about the complex politics of interstellar civilization. Most humans felt optimistic about their place in this new, larger universe. That changed on a quiet Tuesday morning. Captain Jin was monitoring communications at Earth's orbital command when an urgent signal came through on the special channel, reserved for Council messages. The holographic display flickered to life, showing High Counselor Drev. The alien's usually composed face looked stressed, with his scaled skin darkened around the eyes. "This is an emergency transmission to all allied worlds," said Drev. "The hegemony has attacked Council space." Jin leaned forward. The hegemony had been mentioned in briefings, a rival power to the Council, controlling several star clusters on the far side of the galaxy. Until now, they had kept to themselves. 3 Council worlds are under direct attack, continued Drev. We call upon all species to contribute ships and resources to our defense fleet. Your response will determine your standing within the Council moving forward. Jin didn't miss the threat hidden in those polite words. Help us or be treated as enemies. Within hours, President Park called an emergency session of Earth's Global Senate. The Grand Meeting Hall in New Seoul was filled with representatives from all Earth nations and colonial settlements. The Council expects us to send ships, said President Park. But this isn't our fight. We barely know these aliens. Admiral Zhou, head of Earth's defense fleet, stood to speak. Unlike many military leaders, she was small in stature, but her presence commanded. Attention. The Council sees us as newcomers who should follow orders, she said. But we need to consider our own interests. If the hegemony defeats the Council, Earth could be next. Senator Lee pounded his fist on the table. We should stay neutral. Our fleet is meant to protect Earth, not fight in alien wars. Neutrality is a luxury for those with powerful friends, countered Zhou. We have none. The debate continued for 3 days. Some senators wanted to send token support to satisfy the Council without risking too much. Others argued for full isolation, believing Earth could defend itself against any threat. Everything changed when the Europa research station went silent. Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon, housed Earth's most advanced deep space monitoring facility. When contact was lost, a rescue ship was sent to investigate. The images they transmitted back shocked the Senate. The station had been destroyed, its structures melted and torn apart. 17 scientists were dead. Most telling was the recovered sensor data showing a ship matching hegemony designs entering the solar system, attacking the station, and departing. The message was clear. Stay out of the coming war, or face more. Attacks. President Park addressed the Council the next day through a secure channel. Her face showed the strain of sleepless nights, but her voice remained strong. Earth has been attacked by what we believe was a hegemony vessel, she said. We will join your defense effort. High Counselor Drev nodded solemnly. The Council welcomes Earth support. Please send details of what forces you can contribute. They will be integrated into our command structure. President Park's expression hardened slightly. There's one condition, Counselor. Earth ships will remain under Earth command, following Earth protocols. Drev's eyes narrowed. This was not how new species usually responded. They typically showed gratitude for Council protection and followed orders without question. That is unusual, he said carefully, but given the circumstances, acceptable. Your fleet will be assigned to Proxima Station's defensive line. After the transmission ended, Defense Minister Yoon turned to President Park. Proxima Station is a secondary position. They're keeping us away from the main battle. Of course they are, said Park. They still think we're primitive newcomers who need protection." Admiral Song, who had been quietly listening, allowed herself a small smile. Let them think that. For now. In the shipyards orbiting Mars, Earth's fleet prepared for war. 50 vessels of various sizes were made ready, far more than the token force the Council expected. Engineers worked around the clock installing the latest shield generators and weapon systems that Earth had deliberately not shared with the Council. Captain Du, commanding the light cruiser Sejong, addressed his nervous crew before departure. "We're heading into a war between powers that have fought for thousands of years. They think we're inexperienced. They think we're weak." He looked at the determined faces of his crew, humans who had emerged from a planet of constant conflict and competition. "Let them think that," he said with a grim smile. "The surprise will be all theirs." 3 days later, Earth's fleet departed the solar system, heading toward Proxima Station. They were going to war not just to protect distant alien worlds, but to ensure that the Galactic Council and the hegemony learned an important lesson: never underestimate humans. The Council commanders waited at Proxima Station, a massive structure floating in deep space. They had received word that Earth ships would arrive within the hour. Most of the alien officers viewed this as a minor event. New species often sent a handful of outdated vessels as a gesture of alliance. "I wonder what primitive designs these humans will bring," said Subcommander Vrex, a tall insectoid being whose hard exoskeleton clicked as he moved. "Our reports say they only achieved faster-than-light travel recently." His companion, a reptilian science officer named Trill, checked the sensor readings. "Something is emerging from hyperspace now. It appears to be... Wait, that can't be right." The main viewing screen showed not the expected 5 or 6 ships, but a formation of 50 vessels emerging into normal space with perfect precision. More surprising was their design, sleek and angular, unlike the bulky Council ships. They were smaller than standard warships, but moved with incredible coordination. "What are we looking at?" demanded Commander Thex, the senior Council officer. His blue skin darkened with concern. 50 vessels of varying classes," reported Trill. "Their design is unlike anything in our database." The Council officers watched as the Earth fleet arranged itself in a defensive pattern. The formation was unusual. Layers of smaller ships protecting larger ones, but with gaps that seemed like weaknesses. Admiral Song's flagship, the UES Dauntless, moved to the front of the formation. It was not the largest ship, but its design suggested both speed and power. "Open a channel to their commander," ordered Thex. Admiral Song appeared on screen. She was small by Council standards, but her calm eyes and straight posture conveyed authority. "Admiral Song of Earth," she said, simply. "The Earth fleet is reporting for duty." Commander Thex tried to hide his surprise at the fleet's size. "Admiral, we appreciate Earth's commitment. However, this defensive position is for experienced Council vessels. Please move your ships to Sector 7 behind our main line." What he didn't say was that Sector 7 was where they placed ships they didn't expect to survive if real fighting broke out. Song's expression remained neutral. "With respect, Commander, we will maintain our current position. My orders from Earth Command are to protect Proxima Station." Before Thex could respond, alarm signals blared throughout the station. "Hegemony vessels detected," shouted Trill. "A scouting force, 5 warships approaching at attack speed." "All Council ships, defensive formation Delta," commanded Thex. "Earth vessels, fall back to..." "Dauntless to Earth fleet," interrupted Song calmly. "Execute pattern Jindo." To the Council commander's shock, the Earth ship suddenly accelerated in ways that seemed impossible. The formation they had considered flawed transformed into something else entirely. A 3-dimensional net that surrounded the approaching hegemony ships. "How are they moving like that?" whispered Vrex. "Their engines shouldn't be capable of such maneuvers." The angular projections on the human ships' hulls began to glow with blue energy. The Council had assumed these were communication arrays or sensors. They were wrong. Beams of energy unlike anything the Council used lanced out from the Earth vessels. Rather than explosive impacts, these weapons created rippling fields that disabled the hegemony ship's systems without destroying the vessels themselves. They're using some kind of electromagnetic pulse technology, said Trill in awe. But refined, to target specific systems. Within minutes, all 5 hegemony ships floated powerless in space. Not one had managed to fire a shot. The Earth fleet had taken no damage. Commander Thex stood frozen, watching as small Earth shuttles approached the disabled enemy vessels. "What are they doing now?" he asked. "Boarding parties," replied Trill, checking sensors. "They appear to be capturing the ships and crew intact." 2 hours later, Admiral Zhou stood in Commander Thex's office on Proxima Station. She had brought Captain Zhou and Lieutenant Park with her. "Your technology," began Thex, struggling to maintain his composure. "The way your ships moved, the weapons you used, these are not technologies we expected from your species. Earth developed, along different paths than Council worlds, Mel," replied Zhou. "Necessity drove our innovations." "Those strange projections on your hulls," said Thex. "They're not communication arrays." Captain Zhou smiled slightly. "Multiphasic emitters. They can function as weapons, shields, or sensors depending on how we configure the energy flow." Thex studied the humans carefully. "Why didn't you share this technology during your initial contact with the Council?" Lieutenant Park spoke up. "Would you have shared all your military capabilities with strangers you just met?" The question hung in the air. Thex knew the answer was no. "The hegemony will send a larger force soon," said Zhou. "They were testing our defenses today. Next time will be different." Thex nodded slowly. "I must inform Council High Command about your capabilities. In the meantime, I would like to revise our defensive strategy to better utilize your ships." What he didn't say was that everything had changed. The Council had welcomed Earth as a junior partner, a new species to be guided and protected. Now they realized humans might be the most dangerous allies they had ever encountered. As the humans left his office, Thex sent an urgent message to Council headquarters. "Earth fleet capabilities far exceed initial assessments. Recommend immediate, diplomatic efforts to strengthen alliance. These humans are either our greatest asset or our greatest threat." 3 days after the skirmish at Proxima Station, a massive Council fleet gathered near Ceti Prime, a vital manufacturing world. Intelligence reports warned that the hegemony planned to attack this system with over 200 warships, their largest offensive yet. Despite the impressive demonstration by Earth ships, Senior Commander Grax still viewed humans with skepticism. Tall and gray-skinned, with 4 arms that allowed him to operate multiple control panels simultaneously, Grax had commanded Council forces for over a century. "Your vessels performed adequately against a small scouting party," he told Admiral Zhou during the strategy meeting. "But real war is different. The hegemony will not be caught off guard again." The holographic display showed the expected battle positions. Earth's 50 ships had been assigned to the outer perimeter, far from the main engagement zone where the Council's massive dreadnoughts would face the hegemony fleet. Lieutenant Park, Zhou's tactical officer, studied the display with a frown. "They've placed us where we'll have minimal impact," he whispered, "or where they expect the heaviest losses." Admiral Zhou nodded slightly but said nothing. Around them, commanders from 15 different species discussed the battle plan. None asked for Earth's input. "The Council fleet will engage the hegemony head-on," explained Commander Grax. "Our capital ships have the firepower to match theirs. Smaller vessels will protect our flanks." "And Earth's role?" asked Zhou. "Maintain the perimeter," said Grax dismissively. "Prevent any enemy ships from breaking through to attack Ceti Prime directly." Captain Zhou of the UES Sejong leaned toward Zhou. "They still don't understand what we can do." "Good," replied Zhou quietly. "Surprise is a powerful advantage." The hegemony arrived exactly as predicted. 214 warships emerging from hyperspace in attack formation. Their vessels were dark and angular, covered in weapon emplacements that began firing immediately. The battle began poorly for the Council. Their large dreadnoughts had powerful weapons but charged slowly between shots. The more numerous hegemony ships swarmed around them, firing continuously. Council shields began failing within the first hour. From their position on the perimeter, Earth's fleet watched as the Council's perfect formation broke apart under the onslaught. "Admiral Song," came Commander Grax's strained voice over the communication channel. "The hegemony has broken through our forward line. Fall back to secondary positions. We cannot hold them." "Understood, Commander," replied Song calmly. "Earth fleet withdrawing." As Council commanders watched their tactical displays, the 50 Earth vessels appeared to retreat from their positions. Then, suddenly, they vanished completely from all sensors. "Where did they go?" demanded Grax, his four hands moving frantically over his controls. "Have they fled the battle?" No one had an answer. The Council had never seen ships that could mask their presence so completely. Lieutenant Park looked to Admiral Song for orders. Around them, the bridge of the Dauntless hummed with quiet efficiency as crew members prepared for what came next. "All ships, activate stealth systems," ordered Song. "Execute pattern Hichi." The Earth fleet, invisible to both Council and hegemony sensors, moved silently through space. While the main battle raged, they repositioned themselves behind and beneath the hegemony armada. "They've committed all their forces to the forward assault," observed Captain Zhou from the Sejong. "Their rear is exposed." "Precisely," said Song. "All ships prepare to disengage stealth on my mark." On the hegemony command ship, General Kraz was celebrating an imminent victory. "The Council defense is collapsing," he told his officers. "Their new allies have fled. Push forward and—" His words were cut short as alarms blared throughout the ship. "Multiple energy signatures appearing behind us," shouted his sensor officer. Suddenly, 50 Earth vessels materialized in perfect attack position. Before the hegemony could respond, the human ships launched a coordinated assault unlike anything seen in Council space. Captain Zhou led a squadron of fast attack craft through the heart of the hegemony formation. Their ships moved in ways that seemed to defy physics, executing tight turns and sudden accelerations that made them nearly impossible to target. "How are they flying like that?" asked a hegemony gunner as his weapons failed to lock onto the Earth vessels. Unknown to either the Council or hegemony, Earth ships utilized gravity manipulation technology that allowed them to move in ways other species considered impossible. The Earth vessels didn't target the hegemony ships for destruction. Instead, their weapons disabled engines, weapon systems, and shields with surgical precision. "They're hurting us," realized General Kraz too late. The Earth fleet was driving the disabled hegemony ships into a confined space, creating a blockade of their own vessels that trapped the remaining functional ships. From his command center, Commander Grax watched in disbelief as the battle transformed. The Earth fleet had turned certain defeat into victory within 30 minutes. "Impossible," he whispered. When Admiral Song's face appeared on his communication screen, Grax struggled to maintain his composure. "The hegemony fleet is neutralized, Commander," she reported as if discussing the weather. 78 of their ships are disabled but intact. We've taken 26 prisoners from each vessel for questioning." Behind her, Lieutenant Park allowed himself a small smile. The Council had dismissed humans as primitive newcomers. That misconception had ended today. As the hegemony survivors retreated, leaving their disabled ships behind, Commander Grax realized that everything had changed. The Council had gained a powerful ally, one they barely understood and now quietly feared. The Grand Council chamber hummed with tense conversation. Representatives from all 47 member species had gathered. For an emergency session, the massive room with its soaring crystal ceiling and tiered seating had never felt so crowded or so quiet when Admiral Song walked to the center platform. She stood alone, small compared to many of the alien delegates, but no one doubted her importance now. "The victory at SETI Prime had changed everything. Please explain to the Council exactly how your ships managed to disappear from all sensors," said Counselor Venn, a gaseous being who floated in a special containment field. Such technology violates several Council sharing agreements. Song's face remained calm. "Earth developed stealth systems based on light-bending principles. We did not violate any agreements, as we were never asked to share our military capabilities." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Earth had only been known to the galactic community for less than a year, yet they had technologies that Council scientists had deemed impossible. Minister Choi of Earth's Science Directorate stood beside Song. Our planet evolved differently than most council worlds. Our history of competition drove us to explore scientific paths others abandoned. Competition? Asked another counselor. You mean warfare? We call it survival, replied Choi simply. High Counselor Drev raised his arms for silence. His scales had faded to a pale blue, indicating stress in his species. We have received a communication from the hegemony, he announced. They propose a complete ceasefire. All territorial disputes are to be suspended immediately. The council chamber erupted in celebration. For many species, this meant the end of a conflict that had lasted generations. But the Earth delegation remained quiet. You do not seem pleased by this development, Admiral, noted Drev. The timing is suspicious, said Song. Our intelligence suggests the hegemony is building a coalition specifically to isolate Earth, while they develop countermeasures to our technology. Shocked silence fell over the chamber. You have spies within the hegemony? Demanded a reptilian. Counselor, scales bristling. We have information sources, corrected General Kang, Earth's military intelligence leader. Just as we have sources that informed us about yesterday's private meeting where 17 council species discussed the human problem. The silence deepened. Many delegates shifted uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact with the humans. Ambassador. Han stepped forward. Unlike many diplomats, she spoke directly. Let us be clear. Earth does not seek dominance. We do not want your territories or resources, but we will not be manipulated or treated as lesser partners when we have proven our value. What do you want? Asked Drev finally. President Park's hologram appeared beside the Earth delegation. Though she was not physically present, her voice filled the chamber with authority. We want a council that represents all species based on merit, not age, she said. The current system favors those who joined thousands of years ago, regardless of what they contribute now. For 3 weeks, negotiations continued. Many older council species resisted change, but the demonstration of Earth's power at Ceti Prime had made an impression. So had their intelligence capabilities, which seemed to know council secrets before they were even discussed. Finally, a new structure was agreed upon. The Galactic Council would now include a security directorate with 5 permanent members, 3 long-standing council races, and 2 newer species, including Earth. As the final agreement was signed, Admiral Song watched from the observation deck of the Dauntless orbiting the Council homeworld. Do you think they'll keep their word? Asked Commander Tay, who had led the first contact mission nearly a year ago. They'll try, said Song, but mostly because they're afraid not to. On the planet below, Earth's officers began training programs for a new joint defense force. Captain Du found himself teaching council pilots maneuvers they had never considered possible. Your ships can't move like ours, he explained to a class of alien officers. But your thinking can change. In battle, creativity often matters more than technology. Minister Choi shared limited technological information with council scientists, who struggled to understand concepts that contradicted their basic assumptions about physics. But this violates the standard model of particle interaction, protested one scientist. Only the model you've been using, replied Choi. Reality follows its own rules, not our understanding of it. 6 months after the battle at Ceti Prime, a hegemony diplomatic vessel arrived at Earth. Their ambassador, a tall being with crystalline skin, requested a private meeting with President Park. My government wishes to establish direct relations with Earth, the ambassador said. Separate from the council. Park studied the alien carefully. And what does the hegemony offer in such a relationship? Protection, should you need it. Park smiled slightly. I believe we demonstrated we can protect ourselves, but we welcome peaceful exchange with all species, even former enemies. As the hegemony ship departed, General Kang joined the president. At the window. They're still planning something, he warned. Of course they are, replied Park. But now they know we're watching, and they know we're not alone. In the vastness of space, power balances shifted. The old order, built on age and tradition, gave way to one based on capability and innovation. Earth had arrived on the galactic stage not as a humble newcomer, but as a force that changed everything. The humans had a saying that now spread among council species. Never underestimate a species that evolved through conflict. They wouldn't make that mistake again.